to Voice Personality Hunt 2021, SMU's only hosting competition. My name is Faith, and I'll be your host for the semifinals round. We're now down to 12 very talented semifinalists. Following a brutal battle in the quarterfinals, our mentors have picked their teams: Team Alastair, Team Tracy, and Team Kennede. These mentors will be helping their contestants through the semifinals task in the hopes that their mentees make it through to the grand finals. It'll be a cutthroat battle though, because only 6 contestants can make it through to the grand finals and only 1 can be crowned champion of Voice Personality Hunt 2021. For the semifinals challenge, contestants were paired up and assigned a guest. They then had to conduct an interview with the guest, but if you thought it was going to be smooth sailing, think again. Because we dropped a curveball in the middle of every interview, and contestants have to fight to solve it. The show must go on after all. This might all sound a little bit beyond terrifying, but don't worry, we didn't just drop them in the deep end. To prepare them for the semifinals, we invited Suhaimi Yusof from Fly Entertainment to give them a masterclass in co-hosting and interviewing techniques. We also have an esteemed panel of judges this round, with Victoria Ong, Maddie Bretache-Low, Jeremy Yo, and Edward Choi, who will be judging their performances. How exciting! Before meeting our first 2 semi-finalists, we'd like to thank our sponsors, The Escape Artist, Nebo, and K-Pop X Fitness for their generous support. From solving puzzles to getting a good workout to meeting youth in the community, our sponsors have exciting and interesting activities for everyone. And now without further ado, let's meet Jye Yi and Anoushka, who will be interviewing Rachel from Package Pals. Take it away.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to Beyond Barriers with Jye Yi and Anoushka, where we invite notable social entrepreneurs to chill with us and have a good time. How are you feeling, Anoushka?
I'm feeling great. It's a good Thursday afternoon, it rained, and I think I'm just looking forward to the interview right now.
Me too. It's been a great day, and I've been waiting really eagerly this whole week ever since I found out about our guest today, and I am beyond excited.
Speaking of beyond, Jye, I'm going to take it on a serious note for a second. You know how we constantly hear about our planet is suffering and how our decisions as human beings have had so many negative impacts on our planet. But the good thing is there are people around that are passionate about the well-being of our environment, and they work beyond their barriers to work towards a sustainable future. Isn't that amazing?
It is. A very big issue that needs to be resolved is waste management. And today, we have someone who has certainly gone above and beyond in innovating a solution to alleviate this situation. Our guest today has been featured on the Sustainability Project, The Straits Times, and even Channel News Asia. Please join me in welcoming co-founder of Package Pals, Rachel Han.
Hi, Rachel. It is so great to see you here. So, how are you feeling today?
Hi, thank you so much for having me. A bit excited. I feel like y'all cloud me up too much. A bit nervous, but yeah, it's great to meet y'all.
Well, we're really excited to have you here. And maybe we can just start off with the interview first. So perhaps you can just tell us more about Package Pals and what it is to our audience.
Sure. So especially because of COVID, I'm sure everybody has been buying things online. And usually when you buy things online, it comes with packaging, for example, the external packaging or bubble wrap. And instead of throwing it away, what we do is we collect it from consumers and distribute it back to businesses so that less new resources are used and businesses also have a more sustainable packaging option, which isn't really available in the market today.
That's a really, really fascinating idea. So what sparked off this idea and what inspired you to, push on with this, as I understand, almost a year-long project already?
Yes. So we started in May 2020. And how it kind of came about was my family started ordering a lot of things online, especially because I stay with my parents and my grandparents, and going out wasn't very feasible. And I realized that a lot of packaging waste was being generated. And at that time also, I was trying to be a bit more eco-friendly or eco-conscious. So I was wondering what could be done with a poly mailer, for example, the thin plastic exterior. And when I went to Google or reach out to recycling companies, they didn't really accept them, or there weren't really a lot of options available. So when I texted on an environmental Telegram group, Rachel Lee, who became my co-founder, was like, oh, actually, I sell secondhand clothes. I sell my own clothes. And I realized that a lot of businesses use secondhand packaging, but at the same time, they struggle to find supply. So I realized that there was a potential supply, and she also noticed that there was a demand. And that's how we kind of came together and started talking. Yeah. Environmental gender.
But you talked about recycling polymailers, right? And how you thought that there was like an excess of it and you should be recycling and we all should be focusing on that. So I think our audience would be very interested to know what kind of materials do you guys accept? Is it only polymailers? Are you guys venturing out to more materials? And how are you guys going forward with it?
Right. So we collect 5 main categories of packaging. The first is polymailers. So that's like the thin, opaque exterior. We collect large paper envelopes, A4 and above. So usually you receive like office documents in that. We collect padded envelopes. So like the bubble wrap envelopes. I think Shopee has a lot of them. And also bubble wrap. Previously, we collected clear plastic wrappers, like those you receive your clothes in. But actually now we don't collect it anymore because we realize that although there is a supply, businesses don't really need it. Yeah.
I understand.
I didn't draw anything.
No worries. So you guys are collecting so many materials. Then with this, with having been a year since you guys started, what are some of the main challenges that you guys faced?
I would say the main challenge is in manpower, because obviously like everything that we collect needs to be sorted. We need to QC it, so we need to remove personal details. And that's quite manpower intensive. So thankfully, we have a team of about 16 logistics volunteers, and they typically help us with meetups at MRT stations. This was before like phase 2, and they help us to sort packaging. Then I think another problem is just encouraging businesses to adopt secondhand packaging, because when you think of sustainable packaging, the first thing you think about is compostable or biodegradable packaging, which isn't really suitable in Singapore's context. And a lot of them have a few hesitations about it. So we do try to dispel it in various ways, like, for example, trying to get customers themselves to encourage businesses to adopt it, because that's how a lot of like business changes come about. And another way is that we also have stamps. I don't have it with me now, but basically we have little inserts that say sustainable packaging from Package Pals, and we give it to businesses to include in their packages. So at least when a customer receives a package, they're not like, what is this? Yeah.
Okay, so now that we know that you and your partners, you all are moving to tertiary education, you are coming to our SMU family, and you guys are going to get busy with school also. So how is this going to affect the direction of Package Pals?
That is actually something that we've been talking about and discussing. It will be a bit hard because my co-founder is actually going to UK, but I think because our other core team member has been in uni for 1 year, she's actually in year 2 now. So we've gotten a little sneak peek of how it is like. And I think right now, the key thing that we're trying to emphasize on is communication. So if one of us is having a busy period, at least let us know so that we can plan ahead and figure out our schedule. And another thing that we've been focusing on is expanding our team a little bit. So we're looking for a finance and ops manager, and we're also expanding to create a business development team.
Right. So speaking of starting school here at SMU, perhaps you can tell us more about your goals on the academic side. I see that you seem to have dropped off cam for a moment.
Oh, did I? I can see all though.
Oh, perhaps your video was momentarily shut off.
Maybe you can try to like switch off your cam and start again. It's okay. Just it's Zoom. Anything can happen.
Can you see me now?
No, we can't. Okay, maybe like we can try once more. Maybe it'll get better then.
I see the options though, like to choose the virtual background.
Ooh.
Right, perhaps I think you just need to close that tab and then click the start video option. If not, then unfortunately, perhaps we can continue this in voice form.
Okay, sure. Hold on. Okay, it's fixed. Great.
Welcome back.
Welcome back.
No worries. I'm sure that you will face quite a bit of these troubles, especially with all the online lectures and the such. Speaking of starting school, maybe you can tell us about your goals on the academic side.
Well, firstly, pass. I would say that Right now, I guess I've just been trying to get into the groove of school, especially after taking a gap year. I'm sure it's definitely harder for the NS guys, but yeah, it's so different from JC. So that's one thing. Aside from that, I do know that I want to major in psychology. So I'm doing intro to psych this sem. I'm like, oh my God, I need to do well. Yeah. And I've also been considering a few academic CCAs. I didn't join this sem because I've still been trying to like get in the flow of things with package pals in school, but I've been considering CCAs like conjunct for following semesters. Yeah. And of course, I know SMU has like very strong incubator programs and things like that. So that's something that I'm really looking forward to, especially for package pals.
So like now that we know that you are in SMU, and honestly, I think SMU can be a little hectic, not scaring you, but it sometimes is. But with package pals and with SMU, your schedule must be packed, I'm sure. But in an alternate universe where you would have had all the time in the world, like you had nothing else to do, what would you do in that time?
I will learn how to figure skate. I think that at the age of 10, I was not bad at ice skating. I think aside from that, like I always joke and say that I want to be like a tai. So that it's not that I don't want to work, but I want to work because I want to, if that makes sense. And not going to lie, going into the environmental scene is not always the most like financially viable option. So yeah, I would say I'm a bit of a workaholic. So I would want to do something related to that, like either like environmental consulting or doing something for the environment, not because I have to, but because I want to. Yeah. And aside from that, just eat good food. Yeah.
Definitely. I think many of us, as well as the audience, can relate to you in wanting to work. So can either retire early or, as you said, enjoy some of your hobbies that you might not have time to revisit. Speaking of great food, have you tried some of the food around in SMU?
I've mostly been eating around Princep actually. So Rojo Bean Curd is always a solid supper spot. Aside from that, me and my friends usually go to Fortune Center. Yeah, there's a really good, like, I mean, I wouldn't say really good because I've only had it a few times, but if you can get 15 dumplings for like $3 or $4, I think that's pretty worth. Yeah.
It is. And I think I'm going to give you a tip. There's a place right next to Bean Curd called Ramen House. Try it. I think it was a lifesaver for me personally. But okay, going more on like on the details, we would want to know more about your personal goals, like apart from like academic goals. What are your personal goals and what do you want to achieve in the future?
Let me think. My personal goals, I think number one, be happy, like be content with where I am and try to stress out less. Secondly, it's a bit vague, and I guess it is kind of related to academic/career, but I do want to be satisfied where I am. Like know that I enjoy what I'm doing and feel like I'm making an impact in that area. And lastly, just stay connected with all my friends. I'm very grateful that I'm still in touch with my secondary school and JC friends. So hopefully that will continue and it'll be the same in uni.
Okay, before we end, very quickly, just plug, how can people find out more about Package Pals or yourself?
All right, you can follow us on Instagram at package.pals or check out our new website as of May this year, packagepals.co. And then for me, you can follow me at L0SERACH, Loser H. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, Rachel. It was great to have you here. And do you want to sum it up, Jye? Right.
So thank you so much for taking your time to come out and join us today. We had a blast doing this. I hope that those of you listening at home did too. My name is Jye Yi.
My name is Anoushka.
And this has been the Beyond Barriers show starring none other than Rachel Han.
And this is us signing off. We hope you guys had a blast. We had a blast, and we hope to see you guys on the next episode.
Good job, Anoushka and Jye Yi. Thank you so much for that performance. As I was watching it, the first question that came to mind was, do these guys know each other? Because the chemistry was pretty good.
The both of you were quite natural and you made the guest feel at ease. And both of you handled the curveball really well. So well done on that.
Great job, first of all. I did feel that, let's start with Anoushka. I love the way you talk. It's extremely affable. It's very friendly. You're very organic in the way you interviewed Rachel. In terms of Jye Yi, I felt like you had a growth or character growth throughout your entire interview.
Anoushka, excellent energy, very passionate, big gestures. You had forward and backwards movements. This was very much in contrast to Jye Yi's stillness, which is slightly problematic because as much as I like what you're doing, it might work better if you were solo, you're working with a partner, then it becomes a very big contrast.
Thank you, Jye Yi and Anoushka. So, who's moving on to the finals? Type your guesses in the comments below. The grand finals will be live streamed right here on Friday, 17th September at 7:30 p.m. So stay tuned. Before I say goodbye, I'd also like to give a big shout out to the Escape Artist, Nebo, and K-Pop X Fitness for sponsoring VPH 2021. We hope you enjoyed watching this episode of Voice Personality Hunt 2021. But it's not over yet. We've got more episodes coming up with more interviews and more charismatic contestants. So, we'll see you in the next episode. Bye-bye!